the toll of coronavirus and what it has taken across the nation. In particular, cities are being hard hit. A new report out from the U.S. Conference of Mayors found that the sum of real gross metro product will fall by 8%, 8.8% in 2020. So that means wiping out $1.5 trillion nearly in cities' economic output. So incredible numbers that we are hearing, an incredible toll. To talk more about that specifically, we want to bring in the mayor of Arlington, Texas now. That is Mayor Jeff Williams. Arlington, for those who are not familiar, sort of in between Dallas and Fort Worth. It's a city of around 400,000 folks. It's also home to the Rangers and the Cowboys. That's where they actually play. And it's there, Mayor Williams, that I want to begin, because when you talk about economic toll, obviously you all reliant on that revenue that comes from teams playing. And the Rangers and Rockies are going to be playing tonight, right? But without folks in the stands. So talk to me specifically for Arlington about the toll that you're seeing.
Well, Arlington does have a great tourist industry, and of course, being home to the Cowboys and the Rangers are a center. And we also have the largest Six Flags park in the country, and so it hurts. There, and tourism is a great example that really a pandemic just wiping out tourism, but it also was an asset to us, though, in the recession. So you can see the difference here. Even this virus is taking on us rather than a recession. This is truly a natural disaster that we have, and it's an enemy that we can't see, but it's taking its toll on the economy. When we think about natural disasters, we think of hurricanes and tornadoes, and here we have a natural disaster too that is not as well seen, but yet still is taking just as devastating a toll on our communities.
So what role, sir, should the federal government, if any, play in this new round of stimulus with funding for municipalities like yours as well as the states?
Well, I'll just equate it again to a natural disaster. Without a doubt, our community, along with most around the country, were doing very well. And then the pandemic hit. Well, in a natural disaster, you will see the federal government help there in both emergency and medical services, but then the other is the help in the rebuilding, such as when Hurricane Katrina hit. The federal government helped with emergency and medical services, and then also with helping to rebuild. Well, now they have done a good job of helping with emergency and medical services, but now is the time to be able to help rebuild our cities. We are a major economic engine. And then it's very important that we not be crippled to where we're able to help lead out here across America in this economic recovery due to this natural disaster.
Mayor, I remember I was covering a lot of small towns, their budgets and budgetary processes during the financial crisis. And, they obviously took severe hits to essential services, police, EMS. What kind of impact are you seeing in those areas as far as public services go?
Well, without a doubt, cities that have already had to do their budgets here that had the June through July fiscal year have taken major reductions there in both personnel and hiring freezes, and then also reducing the budgets of their various departments right at the time when our citizens need it the most. However, most cities have an October to September fiscal year, and so the CARES package right now is coming at a real key time. And I think you've heard already the importance now as we plan for this next budget. I'm talking about cities across America. This could be a very timely infusion here in order to help us continue moving ahead and serving our citizens.
Mayor, I want to ask you about not just federal, which we've just been talking about, but also what's been going on in the state. There was a new poll out today that showed that the disapproval rating for Governor Greg Abbott's handling of the coronavirus is at 55%. He did institute a mask mandate a few weeks ago. The death toll in Texas is now at about 4,500. Where do you go from here, both in terms of how to attack the virus there in Texas? And do you think that he has taken the proper steps?
Governor Abbott has been key here in our state, and yes, he took a big hit for mandating the mask. However, he went against the political ways and truly looked at the science and the medical professionals that have come out, and it's a fact. The masks do help slow the spread of the virus. And I think it's so important that we leave the politics out. And I really admire Governor Abbott for stepping forward because, yes, he lost a lot of support by doing that, but it was the right
So,
thing.
sir, he didn't lose the support for reopening too early and not mandating the masks early enough?
No, I don't think so at all, because the important thing to remember is that people have to provide for themselves, and and you're balancing the physical, the mental health, and then of course the economic health, which very much affects both, because people have to be able to try to provide for their families. And how can you second guess when we're in uncharted waters when he was trying to balance all of that, both the physical and mental health, and providing the economy? In
Well,
fact,
Mayor, what
yes.
about the New York City? I'm right here in the city. Drastic shutdown, economic disaster. That's what it is. They've basically right now we've got the spread of the virus under control. Let's hope it stays that way. But we have Washington saying states like New York and cities like New York have mismanaged themselves for years, therefore shouldn't get any kind of additional federal funding in the form of tax relief. But then you look at Texas, which, you've got a spike in Texas. Should the federal government punish Texas the way it wants to punish New York based on everything you've just said? I mean, they got to balance the same economic issues here that you have to in Texas, yet the federal government wants to punish the Northeast, but not the South. Why?
Well, I can't answer for them, but I can tell you right now, I think we need a lot of patience and understanding because we are dealing with a virus that is so unpredictable. And so consequently, I think that right now it's across the board. I've visited with mayors across the country, and the story is pretty much the same, that we have been devastated economically, that the virus is having a surge in many areas of our country. And it is so important that we are able to work together and not be divided, and also to be able to have our federal government to finish that third leg of the stool. We've gotten emergency and medical services, and now the opportunity for us to have the money to rebuild is so critical so that we can be propped up to where we can truly be a leader in moving back to economic recovery.
So, Mayor, just finally then, as a representative of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, as well as the representative of your own city, do you think that the federal aid should be allocated according to need? Do you think certain cities should be penalized for past financial mismanagement?
I think that's so hard to be judging, but I'll tell you what you can do. It's very easy to be able to look at the revenue loss that cities have done. It's easy to document that, and putting restrictions on things like not being spent on pension plans and so forth, I think is certainly reasonable there as we go through. But this virus does not know what size the city is. It doesn't pay attention to city limit lines, and it's pretty much the same story across America, whether it be a small, medium, or large size city, wherever you're at. We've been affected here across the country, and then we need the whole country to really realize true economic recovery so that we can continue to be a great country.